Hello, I figured I'd do a what a Skyrim means to me. I did a Halo one a while back, and since it's a 10-year anniversary of Skyrim, and I always go on about how much I love Skyrim, I figured better do a video, or why not? So, what got me into Skyrim was actually when I first was introduced to Xbox. It was Elder Scrolls Online, and I was really got into that, and then a little bit of Halo, and then when I got more and more into the lore, and at the time didn't have a lot of people to play with, I was told, like, okay, well, if you really like this and you're more of a solo player at the time, you probably will enjoy Skyrim. And I'm like, all right, might as well try it. And instantly I got hooked. Instantly I got dragged in. I wanted to know more. I wanted to keep playing. I was so intrigued by this game that I've never felt any kind of amazement with. And it helped that I am a huge fan of fantasy. I'm a big fan of Lord of the Rings. Loved all that good stuff. And but with Skyrim, it kind of was like with the Lord of the Rings, where it takes you to those locations, and basically here I am playing this game that literally I feel like I'm there, and I'm being taken to these locations, and finding snow elves and learning about the lore of these snow elves and learning about the lore of Nords even. And I knew a little bit about Nords, but not to the extent that Skyrim brings. What amazes me about Skyrim, even more than everything I mentioned, is I could go in and play a different route than my next door neighbor. My next door neighbor might have a whole totally different story and a total different route, and I love that about the game, that you can go whatever way you want and still have this amazing wonderful journey. Like, you don't have to be like a sneaky arch person. You can be, you know, dual wielding. You can have just a sword and go in close. Like, you don't have to be one character. And that's another thing that really I liked a lot, because you could be so many different things in one little game. It is 10 years, but I've only been playing about 4 years. I was relatively new to Xbox, like I mentioned. I've played a lot of games since, and with Skyrim, there's this wonderful, amazing feeling, and the only way I can describe it is if you've been on a long vacation, yeah, it was great, but you're just looking forward to getting home. That's the kind of Skyrim like game that it brings me. I could basically play all these other games and go back to Skyrim and feel like I'm coming home, basically. Like, it's just between the story and the lore and the characters and what you can do with that game, it's just very like amazing, so broad, so like I just can't believe how much was put into this game too, because I remember sitting there at one of the shops and I just stood still listening to the music of the shop. Like, just the little things, like the food on the table, and all of it was Nord dishes or Elven dishes even, and sweet rolls and all this other stuff. Just that little stuff, and got into that I must grab everything kind of a deal. And building a house and being able to ride a dragon and talk to the dragons, what an amazing thing. Like, there's games that try to do that, but nothing beats Skyrim. Like, Skyrim was my first for that, for a dragon that I was able to talk to ride, to actually feel for, to have feelings for, want to save them, like, I've never felt that way before. And with Skyrim, unlike at other games where I'll get bored and then I'll never play it, Skyrim, like I said, I've been playing for 4 years, not modded, by the way, and I keep going back. There's always something new. In the 4 years that I've been playing, I always find something, like a dungeon that I never saw before, or a location even, or a quest even that I picked up where I'm like, oh, I don't remember playing that before. And the reason why I stick to the no mods is one, because I have one more achievement left, and two, because for me, um, I'm a very natural person, natural color hair, don't wear a lot of makeup. I'm all about the what was the person before all that. I grew up like that, so for me, I don't, I don't need that extra. All those extras come from other games. Like I'll go play Star Wars to have that Star Wars feeling, or I'll go play Halo to get that Halo feeling. And to put all that stuff into the game was just like, I want Skyrim to feel like Skyrim for that reason. Like I don't want it to feel like those other games because I love it so much. I have such a passion for it that I wouldn't want to kind of paint it in any way that it's not really meant to be. Like these are just fan creations, a lot of them. Although they are amazing, I'll admit, some of them are very interesting. I'm not saying they're bad, I'm just saying I want to appreciate the game for what it was meant to be, what it was made to be. And a lot of people are like, well, you know, we made these creations so you can enjoy the game better. But I never liked playing with like cheats, even on Ark where I struggle, like, or mods. I never really enjoyed playing with mods, so the same goes for Skyrim. And now that I've played it for so long, everyone's like, oh, but you can increase your graphics. For me, the graphics are amazing. I already feel like I'm in the game. I don't need the increase in graphics, honestly. You can increase your weight and not have to deal with the over encumbered. I think that's the fun part of Skyrim, though. Like you have to find a horse another where in order to get to the next town. Like you have to pick and choose what you bring back home. I think that's part of that journey that if I were to mod it, I would lose out on so much, but. Anyways, got off a tangent there. My favorite, other than the graphics unmodded, would probably be the score and the music. The music is unlike any other game I've ever. It's a lot like Lord of the Rings, where I just got goosebumps. I remember the first time in Sovngarde, I stood there for a good 10 minutes just taking it all in, having goosebumps. And still to this day, when I visit Sovngarde, even for a fourth or fifth time, I still get those goosebumps when I'm traveling through and I hear the music of that music when you hear it specifically and only in Skyrim. So there's just, no matter how many times I can play it, it still like has that wow feeling, that amazement, that just awe that I don't get with any other games. Skyrim means a lot to me because, again, especially during COVID, I didn't have a lot of places to go. I'm not very going outy anyways. So Skyrim brought me to worlds that I can't technically go to. It brought me to animals that I've never seen before or wouldn't see, and you don't see giants, you don't see mammoths, you don't see any of these creatures. So it's just like, it brings me to that fantasy world that I love going to so much, and Skyrim brought that for me, and I don't get that with any other game. Like even with Elder Scrolls, I think I enjoy Skyrim a lot more just because you feel more into it. With you get so lost with Elder Scrolls. There's so much. There's so many islands. There's so much lore to it. I heard somebody say that it took them 20 years just to beat like the regular DLC. It's just like, yeah, that's a lot. With Skyrim, I'm almost completed with 4 years. Hopefully I can complete it this year. And even with that, even with completing it 100% those achievements, I don't think I still would dive into, there's not a mod that like I would want or need. Like I probably wouldn't play it for a while and then go back and create a character that I've never had before. I've never dived into the Argonians. I played it as a Khajiit, I played as Nords. So I would play with like wood elves, or even like their culture is very amazing. I'd love to play as one, and just the amount of what you can find in this game just always will amaze me, and I hope that I can keep playing it for many, many more years and keep going back to it and keep still being amazed. So that is my 10-year happy anniversary to Skyrim video. Thank you for everything that those creators at Bethesda have done. You brought a game to me that I've never could even think that I would want to play, but I absolutely love it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Happy holidays, and have a great day or night wherever you are watching. Bye, guys.